Hello, beautifuls. Just wanted to offer you the opportunity to dive a little bit into one of these supportive modalities that I really, really love. And this is the emotional freedom technique or tapping. And I wanted to add this to the Worthiness Revolution because I feel so strongly about this modality in terms of supporting you. Just realized I did not put my phone on mute. So, for this emotional freedom technique, what we're going to be doing is really working through releasing our worthiness wounds. And worthiness wounds is fundamentally the underlying reason why I've created the Worthiness Revolution. And these worthiness wounds, I've done lots of work on it, research, and done some interviews with, I can't remember, close to 30 women. And one of the things that they said about this worthiness wounding is that the belief that they're not enough or doing enough or whatever that is, but it fundamentally is a core wounding, if that makes sense. So core wounding meaning it's a deeper wound, and it definitely ties back to the research that I had done, where women were saying, I don't even recall when it started. It started from the time I can remember. So a lot of them said childhood. And when I started doing the work and research around it, I started seeing the connection worthiness wounds coming from our mother line wounding. And so, mother line wounding is basically the wounds that we receive from our mother, who our mother received from our grandmother and great grandmother. And so, basically, it's going back generations. And those wounds keep getting passed down to the subsequent generation until you here are healing them. And so I wanted to make sure that at each one of these modules that we work through, the 10 modules, that you have something to support you so that you can move into the next step in your healing journey. And so this one, as I was mentioning, is on releasing the worthiness wounds, which ties into module one. And module one is discovering rather the vision that you have and kind of peeling it back about who you want to be at the end of this 10-week journey. And so we did some work around a vision board to help us get that vision more anchored in. So who do we want to be? What is a worthy woman sound like? What does she talk like, essentially? What are the things that she says about herself, the thoughts that she has about herself? How does she walk? How does she dress? How does she handle situations? How does she problem solve? How does she set boundaries? Those types of things. So, this is emotional freedom technique or tapping to release those wounds. So, just get in a comfortable position to sit comfortably, center yourself, take a deep breath in, be in your body, and tune in to yourself and just breathe and noticing the inhalation expanding your rib cage and gently collapsing on the exhalation. And just we're going to be here in this moment, giving ourselves space and grace because you're doing work here. And so you're tuning out all the noise that's around, all the things that you should be doing or have to be doing, and shoulding is not something that we uh, would be supportive to us. So letting that stuff go. Okay. So now that you're here present, being aware of your spinal cord, starting in the skull, the base of the skull, the jaw, softening that, your collarbone, just imagining the bones down your arms into your hands, spine attaching to the rib cage, giving some space in between your vertebrae down to your pelvic bowl, the pelvic bone, hips, knees, ankles, and feet. Just being present. Okay. So on a scale of 1 to 10, rate the intensity of your feelings about this worthiness wound, that you're not enough, that you truly believe at your core that you won't measure up, or that you believe that you, or believe the program that you received that you're not enough. So 10 is like over the top. There's worthiness wound is like super painful, causing me the most amount of grief possible, and one not being a problem at all. Okay, so write that number down, because what we do is we take a baseline measure of where we're at the beginning, so that we can assess where we're at the end of this session. So essentially, if we're at a 8, then we want to see that number drop at the end. Okay, so what we're going to do here now is the setup statement. Okay, so just you can follow along with me. And if you're not familiar, we start with this spot. This is the karate chop. We move up to the scalp. We move here. So tapping, 2 fingers here, 2 fingers, 2 fingers here, right in here, in between that divot between your chin and your lip. Around your collarbone, just you can feel kind of a little bit of a divot in here. That's a sensitive spot. Under our armpits, and then back through the cycle again, if you're not familiar with that. Okay, so here we're going to get started. Even though I feel unworthy and carry this wound deep inside, I deeply and completely accept myself. We're setting ourselves up to move and release this. Even though I struggle with believing I'm enough, I choose to honor and release this pain. And even though I feel this worthiness wound, I am open to healing and reclaiming my power. And I completely and deeply accept myself just as I am. Okay, so now we're going to move into the tapping sequence. This feeling of unworthiness weighs heavy on me. I've carried this wound for so long, it feels like it's a part of me. I feel unworthy of love, success, or joy. This belief that I'm not enough just really hurts me so deeply. I feel shame and guilt and regret tied to this wound. This worthiness wound just keeps me stuck in self-doubt. I see how this belief has held me back, but I'm open to releasing this pain and rewriting my story. So we're just going to keep doing some more releasing. Sorry. Back to just by the, or just above the eyebrow. This worthiness wound feels like it's been around since before I can remember. This worthiness wound, it feels like it sets up its house inside my chest, or wherever it sets itself up in. This worthiness wound just sneaks up on me surprisingly in so many circumstances. I could see it in my relationships, this worthiness wound. Have a hard time standing up for myself. Have a hard time setting boundaries, and that really hurts, because then I feel like I have to undo everything and I can't. Don't feel secure enough in that. And this insecurity feels like it's running my life, and I just can't find the freedom in it anymore. And I feel like I have to people please all the time. And I worry about what other people are thinking about me. Sometimes it creates so much anxiety, it causes me anxiety attacks. And I really need to release this. And I'm not exactly sure how. But I know and trust that doing these cycles of tapping softens the pain for me, softens the worthiness wounds, softens the worry. So we're going to move through just to take a little deep breath now and see where you're at. We just did 2 rounds of releasing. And if you have to do a third one, let's try that one. This worthiness wound feels so heavy. And I see that it started a long, long time ago, since before I can remember. And I know that it has an impact on my relationship, even with my mom. Might even have a real impact on my relationship with my kids. I see how I can't stand up for myself or advocate for myself because I just don't feel worthy. But I know that I'm worthy because I wouldn't be here trying to release it if I couldn't. So I'm going to allow myself this grace and this pain and release it. So now we're going to move into something a little more positive. It's safe for me to let go of this unworthiness. This wound does not define me. I release the pain, the shame, and the guilt tied to this belief. Oh, I forgive myself for ever believing I wasn't enough. I choose to forgive others who contributed to this belief, like my mom, my caregivers. I release this belief from my body, mind, and spirit. I'm worthy simply because I exist. I'm reclaiming my worthiness now. We're going to keep going with this positivity. I am more than enough. I am worthy of love and joy. I trust myself and my journey. I honor my inherent worthiness. I choose compassion for myself. I embrace my unique gifts and strengths. I am safe to embody my worthiness fully and completely. Take a nice deep breath in and then exhale slowly. Do that one more time. And hold it at the top. 2, 1. And if you can feel that you want to do some more breathing, go ahead. Shake your head, roll your shoulders, shake your hands and your arms. And take another inhalation, a deep cleansing breath. And sigh on the exhalation. Okay, so now I'm going to invite you to reflect on how you feel around that intensity of the worthiness wound from that scale of 1 to 10. So wherever you were before, take note. Is there any shift in that? Are there any differences? And just pause, and if you want to close your eyes and put your hand on your heart and just tune in. Notice any shifts in emotions or sensations in your body. Just tune in. Give yourself some space. You can put your hand on the space just below your belly button, tuning into our sacral chakra. And just continue to breathe. Thank you so much for joining me for today's session on the EFT tapping so that we can move into worthiness. Much love to you.